That I lost my V card because she was jealous. 2 months ago, I started dating a new guy at our high school. He was the new guy in school and every girl wanted to be with him, including my best friend. Now, before this, my best friend and I had never had any problems between us. She never showed herself to be envious or jealous of me, so I trusted her. And I literally told this girl everything. The new guy started showing me a lot of attention. He followed me on Instagram and DM'd me right away. Apparently, I reminded him of his ex, who he was obsessed with. One morning, my best friend and I are hanging out before class starts. The new guy walks up to us, says good morning to us both, and then asks me if he could talk to me privately. That's when my best friend says, "You can talk in front of me. I'm her best friend and she trusts me." So then he proceeded to ask me out in front of her. The look on her face was terrifying. She was so pissed off. Of course, I said yes and he walked away. That's when my best friend said, "Oh my God, he's kind of ugly. Did you smell his breath? It stinks really bad. Why would you ever go out with that guy?" That's when she said, "You better not go out with him or I'll tell your parents." I looked at her and said, "You wouldn't dare." She's like, "You're right, I wouldn't." By the way, my parents were very strict. They'd never let me go out on dates, much less have a boyfriend. The weekend comes around and I'm getting prepared for my date. So I told my parents that I was going to be with my best friend the entire weekend. And of course, they believe me. I sent her a text message saying, "Hey, I told my parents I'm going to be with you. So if they ask you, you got to cover for me." She says, "Of course I will." I go on the date with the new guy and it was so much fun. For the first time ever, I was treated like a girl. He held my hand, he was kissing my neck, and he paid for everything. Like I said, up until that point, I'd never really had an experience like that. So I was falling for him quick. We'd gone to watch a movie and at the movie theater, he started kissing me. Of course, I kissed him back. That's when he asked me if I wanted to go back to his house because his parents weren't home. And I said yes. As we're driving to his house, I was so excited. So I texted her out of excitement telling her that I was going to be going back to his house. She replied and told me that I was a slut and that I was being too easy. She even asked me to send her a picture of what I was wearing, which I did. Then she replied, "You'd look like a slut." Then we got to his house and we started making out again. Part 3 is up. I could hear her messages come in as we're on his bed. I grab my phone and silence it and see that I have about 20 text messages from her. I read the first one and it said, "Or I will tell your parents." But of course I ignored them. But to be honest, it ended pretty quickly. As I'm getting dressed, he says, "Do you need me to drop you off at your best friend's or can you stay and have dinner with me?" This boy was trying to cook me dinner. Of course I said yes. I text my best friend and tell her, "Why are you being so mean?" I told her that nothing happened, but she wouldn't believe me. That's when I told her that he was going to make me dinner at his house, and this is when she got even angrier. She said, "Why is he making you dinner? What did you do to have to get that dinner?" I told her nothing and she wouldn't leave me alone. That's when she started calling my phone. Of course I didn't answer. 3 minutes later, I get a call from my mom. I answered right away and pretended to be at my best friend's. And that's when my mom told me that my best friend called her and told her the truth. So I couldn't lie anymore. Took me to my parents' house and they were furious. My parents told this boy that he has to marry me. He literally ran away. After my bestie told my parents that I lost my V card, they wanted to force me to marry the guy. And then he ran away. My parents were so furious. That's when I called my bestie to confront her about what she had done. But guess what? She ghosted me for 4 days. I even went to her house and confronted her, but she wouldn't open the door. My parents grounded me for 2 months. They took my phone away and all I could do was go to school and come back home. They even took me to the gynecologist. I was absolutely humiliated. And the boy, forget about it. He also ghosted me. My dad even wanted to go to the boy's house to confront his parents. But I managed to convince him not to. They even wanted to press charges because he's almost 18. Do you see how much drama this caused me? Finally, I see my bestie at school. And guess who she was with? Yeah, the boy who I lost my V card to. She even made up a rumor that I begged this guy to do it with me, but luckily he does have a backbone and denied it. After about dating for a week, he broke up with her because she was being mean to me. That's when he came back to me and apologized. He said that he really liked me and he came to my parents' house and apologized. My parents finally accepted him. And we've been dating now for 6 months. And my bestie is not my bestie anymore. Bye, B.
It finally happened. It finally happened, and I never thought this would happen to me. In a million years, I never thought this would happen to me. This is something that happens to geriatrics. I don't know. I'm in the change room the other day. I'm trying on a pair of pants. I get the pants on and my phone buzzes. I reach down, like a person does, to grab my phone. As I reach down, my entire back seizes up to the point where I'm not showing you. I was paralyzed, not to mention panicked because I wasn't aware my body did things like this. I could not text me. I was like, what is going on? So then I think maybe I'm having a panic attack. So I breathe. Nope, it's an injury. I've injured myself grabbing my phone. My whole back gone, cannot move. So now I'm thinking, I just got this pair of pants on. How am I going to get them off? I can't move. I lie on the ground and grab my phone and I'm texting like this. I go, is it dramatic to call an ambulance? Because I did not understand how I would get out of this change room. I didn't understand how I would leave without stealing these pants. I had no clue, and I drove there too. So I'm like, there's no way I can drive home. What do I do? So I messaged my aunt and I'm like, you have to leave work and come get me because I, reached the wrong way and now my back's all fucked up. And she's like, okay. In the meantime, I open the change room door, stick my head out, and wiggle my lower body until the pants come off. And people are like walking by, like, God forbid anybody help. I probably looked too crazy to help. I was wearing the biggest underwear, just chose to wear massive full bum underwear that day, which is nuts. Then luckily, I also chose to wear a big pair of sweatpants that day. So I just pulled them on with zero resistance because I decided to go out like that. And then I rolled onto my front like a beast. Like I was like, like get up. Like people are just like, what is this chick doing? And then I limp to the cash and I exchanged the pair of pants I went there to exchange. And you know, through it all, this is why women are stronger than men. Because my boyfriend, he gets like a pang. He's like, ah. I'm like, do you know what it's like to become paralyzed in a change room and still go through with the task? I tried the pants on. I returned them. My aunt picked me up. I got home. I lied on the ground like a corpse for 2 days. And now, like, it's fine. But it was horrifying. Like, who does that to their back? People that are 30? All my friends are 30. No one has to be rescued from a change room nude with geriatric panties on. I can't even believe it. I think I'm gonna set up a GoFundMe for myself.
Am I wrong for helping my brother run away from his wedding? I have 2 older brothers. This is about the middle one. Our parents divorced when I was very young due to our mother's insane jealousy. She quickly rebounded with a guy with 2 kids and had shared custody for a while. But when my dad got remarried, she went crazy, calling his new wife every horrible name and claiming he was cheating on her while they were married. I was always closer to my brothers and my dad rather than my mom because she was always very mean to me. Long story short, my stepmom died in a bad car accident and my dad called her in the middle of the night letting her know that he would pick us up earlier so we could attend the funeral, and she decided to take us on a fun trip to celebrate something. It was the happiest we've ever seen her, and when we realized what happened and started crying, she told us only worthless people cry. Needless to say, things went nuclear and my dad asked for full custody with visitation for her. He always left the line of communication open and paid for us to visit her when she moved away, but it was still very bad, and as soon as we turned 18, we started to lower contact with her. The last time we saw her was on my high school graduation, where she made a point of letting everyone who would hear that we were ungrateful kids, and her husband at the time would call us bad names too. We've been no contact since then. My brother Sam started dating his ex 3 years ago. She had heard all of the stories and the reasons we are no contact, but she believes we are just dramatic. Oh, I see where this is going. They had many issues due to her opinions, but she eventually seemed to drop the "you need to reconcile with your mother" crusade. During the wedding planning, there was no indication of things going wrong or fishy. Then we got to the church, and lo and behold, mom, husband, and 2 kids were sitting up front. I immediately panicked and called my brothers. Sam thought maybe somehow she found out and wanted to crash, so he called his ex to let her know of the potential drama, but she told him it was fine since she invited them. Sam hung up and asked me to go get him while oldest brother dealt with things at the church. We went home and barricaded ourselves there, even with his ex, her family, friends, etc. came to try and make sense with him. My mom's husband even called and said he always knew we were worthless. Now that the dust has settled, most of Sam's friends are on his side and so is most of our dad's family. His ex's parents already threatened to sue for the money they paid if he doesn't marry her, but Sam says he'd rather pay them back for the contribution than marry someone that betrayed him. My nuclear family 100% supports Sam, but the backlash has been huge. I asked my brother Joe about the church aftermath, and it was just as I expected it. He says he stood up in front of everybody and told them Sam was not coming back and please go home, and all of the gifts delivered to our side of the family will be given back ASAP. The ex was still outside the church when someone in her family informed her, and she started screaming and crying and calling Sam nonstop.
You met a guy.